Shambho Mahadev. So we said about the Jyoti Prakasham. It's Brahman. How to identify the Brahman through the Prakasha, light, fire, Agni, Vaishvara. Section 8, so 481 says, so the Hamsa departed the knowledge, that what he knew. Each one is explaining, now we have crossed the three padas, each one is explaining his own meditational knowledge. So, last Hamsa told about the four padas of light. After that he said, Madgushte padam vaktedi sahasro bhude ga abhiprasthaya panchagara panchakara tayatra abhisayam bhabustatragnim upasamadhaya ga uparudhya samidha madhaya paschadagnehe prangpopavivesha. The Hamsa, after saying about the four padas, about the light, he stopped saying. After stopped saying, he said that, hey, Satyakama, beyond this, Madgushte padam vaktedi. Madguhu. Madguhu means a diver bird, also known as an aquatic bird. Yes, an aquatic bird. A diver bird, he will tell you the next four padas. About that I do not know. I know only about this. This is my meditational experience, so I told you. So next you have to collect, to know the knowledge. You have to ask, Madgushtaha, Madguhu, Madguha. So the diver bird will speak to you about that. So Satyapala, when the next day dawned, he drove the herds. At whatever time and place they gathered at the nightfall, there having stopped the herds and cattle, he lighted up the fire, sat behind that, nearby that, facing the east, and started meditating. Then, tam Madguru panipatya abhyuvada Satyakama iti bhagavaitiha pratishushruva. In the second sloka, Bhagavan says here, suddenly he found through while meditation, nearby him, the Madguhu, this bird is flying, and came and told, O Satyakama. Then he said, Brahmana somya devadam bravanidi bravidu me Bhagavan iti satmai heva hovacha Prana kala, chakshu kala, shrotram kala, manah kalaisha Vai somya chatushkala pado brahmana ayatanavan nama. Hey Soumya, same thing. Padam te padam bravani iti bravidu me Bhagavan iti. Hey Satyakama, I am the Madguhu. I wish to tell you the jnanam of the four padas of Brahman. So Satyakama said, hey Bhagavan, in the form of bird it is. Hey Bhagavan. And the diver bird is small, I think. very small ansha. So, hey Bhagavan, please tell me. Then he said, Bhagavaniti tasmai hovacha. So he started telling, Prana kala. Prana is the first pada. Chakshuhu, the eyes, are the second pada. The ears, Shrotram kala, third one. Manah kalesha, mind, is the fourth one. Ve Saumya Chatushkala Pado Brahmana Ayatanaman Nama. Ayatanaman Nama. So the one who does that, he will reach the abode of that, not shelter of that, abode of that beyond. Ayatanaman. Ayatanaman Bhava, Ayatanaman Media, Ayatanaman Bhava. So all the mantras you will find that this Ayatanaman Bhava, Ayatanaman. We have to reach that status. That abode means the shelter, that status, we have to reach that. That's why these mantras are told. So, these are the four padas. Sorry. Four padas. So, prana. Prana is always represented in the bird, even in the stories you see. Rakshasa's prana is enclosed in a small bird, put in the cage and all that. The small stories are there. See, prana is always connected with us. That's why Madguhu is a prana. Why? Because this is diver bird. There is a speciality. Why? The diver bird is the one which doesn't breathe when it is going under the water. The prana is the one which can sustain according to its own wish wherever it likes. Whether it is above the ground or under the water, anywhere it is like. Is why the comparative study or the comparison of prana with the Madguhu. Yes, or the diver bird with this small bird. Because that it is like a bird, you see. The prana is like a bird. It can fly by itself, anytime, anywhere. And it can go underwater, it can survive underwater, above the water. Is why the prana, the one who can sustain. What is that prana again? The one who moves at its own will is prana. Prana is not in anybody's control. The diver bird is not in anybody's control. Whenever he wants, he goes under the water. Whenever he doesn't want, he comes out of the water. Okay. Same way, the prana is that whenever it is necessary, there are formalities for that. So when that environmental formalities are completed, the prana enters into the sharira or in a body. Whether it is human being, animal, trees and plants, or rocks, or earth, or anything, whatever it is. So the prana is that one which has got a free movement. And the prana is the life form, actually. Prana is the life form. Without prana, nothing can function. Nothing can function. So the prana is absolutely necessary. Here in this pada, in the Brahman, how to identify Brahman through the pada is the discussion here. That's what he is discussing with the Satyakama. How to identify Brahman through the prana or through the diver bird or through the prana. So he has to identify. When he has to meditate on the prana, when he meditates on the prana, where is the prana? In the sharira. In any sharira, where is the prana? There is no particular location. Even though people say, this is prana. Because the heart is there, so we say. From there the blood is being pumped all over the body. So we all say the prana is here, prancha. No, we always think that it goes from here. It is not that. Prana is there in every chakra, in every Pancha Pranas. That's why it is known as Pancha Pranas. Now, Prana has been divided into 5. Yes. Apana, Samana, Prana, Udana, Prana, Vyana. So these are the 5 pranas. So the prana, that means it is not concentrated only at one point. That means it can move anywhere. The significance is that it moves everywhere, or it is everywhere, is that prana. It's not concentrated somewhere. So when the prana has to leave, all these pancha pranas will have to assemble together and flow out. So from the apana, from the mooladhara, the apana, which is the kundalini energy, that's called the apana prana. So the apana prana has to merge with the samana, then to the udana, then to the prana, then to the vyana. Ultimately, along with the jnanam that is acquired, the experience acquired throughout the life, this prana, which is situated all over, which had been collecting, which has been controlling the balance of any of the material or matter, will leave according to its own wish when the fulfillment of the required jnanam has been acquired by the vyana. Vyana directs the other prana. Suppose prana is divided into 5. The vyana informs the other pranas to merge. So the first one to merge is that apana, which is known as the kundalini. That means detachment from the earthly world is the first thing to be done. Kundalini or the apana prana is very much connected with the earthly world or the external world or earth, what we call. So without detachment, because see how beautiful it is, Vyana has already collected all informations or whatever necessary. Udana has already acquired all the necessary informations in the life. Udana, I made a mistake. Udana acquires that. After Udana acquiring all the information, when no more information can be provided by this circumstance and situation of the Indriyas, so many parameters are there. The Panchendriyas, Dashendriyas, Mana, the karma, the vichara, chinta, everything is there. They are all, the prana is the one which is supervising every activity. So he collects all the informations, and when he finds that there is no more information this can give, it will only be repetitive and things like that, where it is of no use. So Udana instructs the other pranas to merge each one. When no experience is necessary, the first thing that is to be done is that close, detach, is it not? Detach from the external world. When the cash in the bank is being given, when the time is up, no more cash available or the time is up, what he has to do first, not that he will count or log this one and all that, no, not that. The first thing he has to do is that close the counter is the first thing, isn't it? So that nobody approaches him. Close the counter. No, the man who is a shopkeeper, before anything, if he wants to close the door, push, finish it. Half door or full door or whatever it is, so that nobody enters and no more transaction is taken. So no more experience. You got it? Udana would like to be, he is very particular, is very careful. So that he ensures that no more experience comes. Doesn't want to have any more things. Not that somebody will tell, no, I will not function. No, he doesn't believe anymore. So Udana says, no more activity. So in order to have no more activity, to ensure that, what first he says, Apana, come up, finished. Apana disconnects. Disconnects with the earth means no more experience from the external. Now whatever is internal, it's already there. So Apana moves first. First is that Kundalini moves up, then goes to the Samana, then goes to the Vyana, then goes to the Prana, then goes to the Udana. So gradually, one by one, you will find that is how it releases from the body. So it's a very gradual, beautiful process without any disturbances. That is why the Sushumna, Ida and Pingala, the Sushumna has to be kept clean, they say. So for that the pranayam, meditation, and the spiritual way of living is absolutely necessary. So that the Sushumna is absolutely clean. Ida and Pingala are the ones which are supporting Sushumna, Ida and Pingala. They are the ones, Ida and Pingala are the ones which are supporting for the function of the Sharira and Mana. Ida and Pingala. Okay. Ida and Pingala are the ones which are supporting the function of the Sharira and Mana. Especially Ida is the one which goes up to the Mana. And the Sushumna is the one which is directly connected with the Udana, which is called the Jnanam, or which reveals towards the external world, the upper higher world where the higher sources are there, or higher energy is there, consciousness is there, we call it as Brahman. For that, the Sushumna has to be perfect and clean. During the practice of our living, that's why the pranayam is necessary, meditation is necessary. It is necessary. It is not that it's an option that if you like, you do it. There is no option. Even though today we are taking it as an option, there is no option. It is not an option, it is a must. Because during this process only, the Sushumna is kept clean. That is a dharmam, Sharira Swadharma, we call it. No? One of the Swadharma, one of the Sharira Dharma or Swadharma is that we have to undergo. In the Brahmacharitva, as we said, Vaishambhayana has told the Brahmacharis, in order to be a true Brahmachari, in order to be a true person, in order to function properly, your Pancha Praana should be in its own position and activated in the right manner. In the sense, when Pancha Pranas has to have a correlation between them. Otherwise, how will you transmit the experiences from the Mooladhar or from the Apana Prana to Udana? If the middle functions are not proper, if the channels are not clean, or if it is not proper, how will you transmit this? So there will be distorted transactions taking place from the experience to the knowledge. So what happens? There are so much of complication in this, It is not the right experience that you have acquired, is that what is acquired is getting by the Udana in that case. That is why Udana rejects that experience. Sometimes you feel that is right, but why it is not happening? Why it is not happening is that because there are distorted informations taking place. So when the distorted information taking place, it doesn't reach the Udana in the right way, in the right manner. Why? Because this experience, even though the experiences are there, only those which are highly important, which doesn't create an obstacle during the passage, they know that only they get. Even though the Sushumna, definitely it functions, otherwise the Sharira cannot function. Only thing what we are telling here, Vedanta says, or the yogic Vidya says that the Sushumna should be kept as clean as possible, so that there should be an absolute channel, free channel between the Apana Prana to the Udana. There should be no obstacles in that in between. No? So in order to do that, the true pranayam. Now what is pranayam? Even though we have discussed this in detail in the our Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we have described about the pranayam, but still, according to Vedantic and the little more than, or little beyond that, right? What we discussed is up to certain extent. Now, in the Upanishadic, in the Vedantic way, it goes little beyond. Let's go to beyond that. The pranayam is that not only that exercise what you are doing, exercises are only the initial stages. Yes. They are all initial stages to make you practice or make your equipment available for the true pranayam. You know, the pranayam exercises what we are talking about or what we are doing. We say that okay, Bastrika, and then Anulom Vilom and things like that, what we call, they are all, what is that? They are all practices that we are doing in order to make the proper pranayam takes place. Even though we call this as pranayam. When a tapasvi or a maharishi, when he sits and meditates, he is in the pranayama. He is not doing Bastrika and Nulom Vilom and doing meditation. No. When he is doing meditation, his yama of prana means the traveling of the prana. I told in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, prana is not the air, oxygen or breath or Vayu, what we call. It is not the prana. Prana is something beyond that. It's a life force. That's why there is a different name for that. That's called a life force, they call it. It's called prana. Prana is not the Vayu. Okay. Vayu is an ingredient of the prana. Okay, that can be told. Is a part of the prana is Vayu. Okay. What for? For the purpose of traveling, for the purpose of transparency, for the purpose of travel, for the purpose of transition, Vayu is necessary. How the prana will how the transition takes place from apana to samana or to that through the Vayu. How the fragrance spreads all over through the Vayu. Got it? Vayu is not the fragrance. Yes? You got it now? Vayu is not fragrance. Fragrance spreads through the Vayu. So we say, the air smells beautiful here. The air doesn't smell beautiful. Air is air only. Or whether they foul or beautiful, nothing. What is that? The content that is there, which is invisible, which is in Sukshma, is transported, or it is Yama, travels, or being transmitted, being transported from one point to the other is called the Yama. So Vayu is, now you understood, Vayu is not the prana. Vayu is one medium in order to have a transition from one point to the other point. It's a transition point. See? You got it? That is why. Then what is this? Now you are. What is that? It's only Vayu you are pulling it. Is it prana? The one who is doing Anulom Vilom, he must be taking so much of prana inside and so much of prana outside also. Is it that? No. That is why I said these are upadhi. These are all reasons, or these are all mediums, or these are all practices. These are all practices for the prana to have the right yama. After practicing all this, what happens? Your internal organs that is necessary for the transition of the prana from one point to the other, to make it easier without any obstacle, these exercises will make the passages, the physical passages, clear and keep it ready, so that during the meditation, during the pranayamam, there are no obstacles in between. That's why this is a yogic exercise, we call it. What is it? In English also they call it as yogic. Yoga means in order to merge is that yoga. Yes. So in order to merge, the exercises that is being done is meant for the cleansing period, cleansing of the internal passages, let us call it. Internal passages for the prana to have the travel from one point to the other. Now, is it necessary for everybody to do this pranayama exercise? No. But normal human beings who are not in the position, they have to do it. But there are people who have never done this pranayama. Why? Because they are beyond that. Who does require this cleaning? Whose passages are unclean. Whose passages are unclean needs cleaning for the prana to travel from one point to the other. Shabari did not do any pranayama. I don't know whether she has done. I'm just telling. Shabari did not do any pranayama. According to the story, what it goes is, she did only tapasya, guru bhakti. Maharishi Gautama said, while dying, you sit here, Ram will come, and then you get your moksha. Only one sentence, that's all, nothing more. She, being a great bhakta, devotee of the Guru Gautama, said, my Guru has told he'll come. Which janma he comes doesn't matter, I will be living so long. And that is his blessing. Naturally, she lived that one yuga practically, quite some time, till Ram came. During this time, did she do pranayam? Exercise? She did tapasya. What was that tapasya? Tapasya. Yesterday we talked about the tapasya. What is that? Ekagrachita. Yesterday we said that. How not to create one of the classes we said that. How not to create the thoughts to come into the mind. The thoughtlessness state. Where our past karmas are not utilized for executing the present karmas. When that is done, no storage of that is necessary. Past karmas can be a guideline. It's not that past karmas are absolutely rubbish, nothing. It's not that. Experience values. What for? Just a guideline. Can I use the same technique of 10 years back, what I used for solving one problem today? Let it be any problem for that matter. It cannot be done. That's why we call it as generation gap, we said, very cleverly. Generation gap. It's not only generation of the son and the father. It can be a generation of the father 10 years before and 10 years now. You cannot be using the same experience and expertise of your ideas and intelligence and intellect for solving a problem of a son or a father after 10 years. Can you? 10 years before, the circumstances were different. 10 years before, the son was younger. Even though his problem was one, then also he wanted money, now also he wants money, let us say. Then he wanted pocket money, now he wants bag full of money. That was pocket only, now back full. So that difference is there. But what is the requirement? I'm just telling an example. Requirement is money. Can you solve the problem of this today's requirement of money utilizing the experience of previous? Absolutely no, impossible. You have to take a different direction, is it not? Anyway, we have explained much on this experience. So you can use that as a guideline. What is that? Money has to be paid, and how the money has to be paid, when has to be paid, in which form it has to be paid, can be utilized as a guideline. But the technique or the application of the karma, application of the knowledge in order to solve the karma, guideline is only for you. It is not for application to take effect on the other person or other object. That cannot be done. Am I right? Are you getting it? Yes. So the experience what was there at the 10 years back and now it is totally different. So you have to use, as I told you, each and every karma and each and every moment, the application, that means application in the sense knowledge. The knowledge applied for solving a karma should be new, depending upon that particular karma. It has to evoke then and there only. The other things are used for the guidelines only. So what happens here? The prana, when it is experiencing, even though the experiences are there, what we were talking, yes.
Maharishi.
Cleansing, Maharishi. So the Maharishi, when he is doing the tapasya, the cleansing is no more required. Why? Because he doesn't accumulate any of those experiences. Because he doesn't require any more experiences. He doesn't accumulate any more experiences. Why? Because the absolute jnanam, the absolute knowledge is always available for him. So for him, it is not necessary to, even though he might be storing it unconsciously somewhere, but he will never evoke them in order to have a guideline or a decision making for the purpose of the new karma execution. So what happens? There are no obstacles. Now, if I remember that to use it as a guideline, I will always keep that in our store. That experience is kept in the store in order to utilize it for the future in the memory cell, and this will be the guiding factor for us to take a decision of similar circumstances whenever it happens in our lifetime. As I told you, money is needed. So you will utilize always the same expertise that you have already established for your necessity. You will use only the same method of utilization in this experience also, that when money is needed. Yes. A thief, when he needs something, the first thought what he gets? How to steal from somewhere, isn't it? What happens? He had been stealing and he is gaining that. So he has reserved that expertise and experience and have that karma phala in him. So whenever he needs a requirement, whenever he has a requirement, the first thought comes to him. I'm not talking. After that he may regret, he may change also, that's okay. The first thought that comes to him is that how to steal, or from where to steal this, is that first thought. Then he may change, then what happens and this, that and all. That's a different thing. So the first thought is always that. So invariably what happens, whenever we have a requirement, we try to utilize the same experience, not as a guideline but as an application as it is. Why? Because we do not have any fresh knowledge in our store, we can use it. So same thing is being used and it becomes misfit and it becomes a failure. Or it won't be sufficient enough to fulfill the adequate quality that is necessary. Yes. You got it? That's why there are misunderstandings. Why the misunderstanding happened? Because of this. Because of the application. Is why in Veda and Vedanta, the word love, that what we call in English, sneha, sneham or premam, whatever we call, this is known as yujyate, yoga in the Vedanta. Yoga, oneness. They don't call it as, even though there are so many paryayas are there, paryayas are meant for small things, it's okay. That they are all temporary applications. But the true love, what we call it as a bhakti or devotion, dedication, they are all love only. But the true love, which is the truth, the other love, what we call vatsalya, is temporary with the child. Prema is temporary so long it remains. Sneha is temporary for so long it remains. Then acquaintance, knowing, daya, karunyam, everything is love only. Everything is love. They are all paryaya of love only. Now they are all utilized depending upon the temporary requirements. They are all bifurcations of the yujyate. What is the true love? True love is that inseparable. There is no expectation, there is no giving and taking. How can you not have giving and taking? Only when it becomes one. Is it not? Yujyate, yujya. Vedanta said, yujyate. Okay. That's called the true love. So there what happens? The previous experience is not necessary. In all other things, previous experience is necessary. Because they are temporary. They are not permanent. So, yujyate. Now what am I trying to tell you is that, so when a Maharishi or a Tapasvi, when he does the Tapasya, his practice of connecting himself, yoga, yujyate, with the Parabrahman, constantly has refrained him from the thoughts that normally occurs for anybody. Why? Because he doesn't have those experiences, normal experiences, what we call, as the others have, and he is not undergoing the process of the emotional experiences, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. During the process of the tapasya, he doesn't undergo that, but normal human being has to undergo. He has a desire, he has got an attachment. Then what happens? He acquires these things, whereas a tapasvi, a jnani, doesn't have a desire, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya is no more there. So what happens is that his activities and his practices of prana doesn't have any deviation in the yama, in the traveling. So the Sushumna, Ida, Pingala is absolutely clean. Whereas in a normal human being, what happens? Because of the mind's activity of the indriyas, by the indriyas, through the indriyas, mind is an enjoyer of all the results of the indriyas functions. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, accumulation of all activities of these, thousands of unwanted activities of them, they are all accumulated in the system. When they are all accumulated in the system, in the mind, what happens is that the prana, yama, prana, even though the prana is there, the yama is obstructed. The transition is obstructed. Why? Because of this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, emotional block, we call it. What's that? Emotional block. What is that emotional block? Because of an emotion, a block is created. When a block is created, the yama of the prana, the transition of the prana is not proper, it is improper. So, the true experience that is necessary is not being transmitted to Udana in the right time. See, it's a time. What do you mean by right experience is being not transmitted? Suppose an experience is happening now. Within a fraction of a second, this experience has to be transmitted to Udana, and Udana replies how this has to be further executed. Now, if there is a delay in information and then receiving, what happens? Receipt, the information reaches there later, And when the information reaches there later, depending upon that situation at that time, the Udana replies. By the time the reply of the Udana reaches the Apana, it's again delayed. So when it is delayed, the delayed action has been taken there. When the delayed action is taken, what happened? Bad karma. A delayed action is bad karma, that's all, because it doesn't fit that situation. It doesn't fit. He has given you for a particular situation, but you have applied it for a delayed situation. So when you apply that in a delayed situation, the decision of the previous situation will not match. Is why each prana does a bad karma because of that. Why? Because transition, pranayama is not there. Transition is not there. So, for normal people, yes, physically, even though physically the pranayama is being done, it is not necessary that their sushumna is also clean. Unless a person purifies the thought process, mind, mana, through the practices of the Shravana Manana. That's why we are coming to that. What is that? Chakshu, Shrotram, Mana, we said, no? If they are not clean, this is what we are coming to. If they do not picture, or if they do not produce the right timely execution of karmas in the right manner and transmit it to the mana, not for the purpose of the enjoyment and entertainment of the mana, but the absolute karma of the indriyas, each indriya has to do it exactly as it is supposed to do, without any emotional attachment to that, then only a proper karma can be transmitted. And when a proper karma is transmitted and a decision is taken, the right karma is executed without utilizing the previous experience. Whereas in this case, what happens? If some experience goes to the mind, first of all, it is delayed. Second is that the mind, if it's an enjoyer, mind will transmit that or translate that with the experiences he has, mix with that experiences he has, and then transmit it. Probably it will give a totally different color, different shape, different form, different idea, different knowledge, different execution, everything that takes place. When that takes place, you execute a bad karma. Is the theory of it. Now, from a distance during summer, from a distance you are looking at a tree. Because of the heat waves that in between, you will find that waves are there. Because of that, there is a distortion of the vision, and because of the distortion of the vision, the branch of the tree finds to be crooked. Like when you put a straight stick to the under the water, look through the water, you will find an inclination. There's an angle. It goes not in this way. It is in a different way. How? No, it's a different. The principle is different there. Now, I'm just telling you about the Vedantic principle of it. I'm not going into the science of that. You get a distorted vision, is it not? What are you seeing actually? What is not the fact is that what you are seeing. You are seeing what is not the fact. So the mind has got an information saying that the reflection is, in an angle, it is not straight. So the mind will immediately give an information to do a karma based on the crookedness of the angle, the crookedness of the stick, or the angle stick, not a decision for the straightforward stick, is it not? Will it be suiting this? Will that application of karma, will it suit? No, it will never suit. Why? Because you have seen it is in an angle. You have seen the tree's branch is in an angle. You have seen another person is bad. Now gradually coming to that. Yes. You have seen another person is bad because you have imagined that a particular activity is that what he is doing is wrong. You have imagined. Or you have always, the mind has got a fascination of multiplication of things, even if they get slight thing. There may be straw outside the house. Straw caught fire. There is a smoke and there is a flame from outside the compound. When people see, there is a smoke and flame. The man who saw it, he runs and tells everybody, so and so's house is on flame. He's right. He has seen the flame, he has seen the smoke. So and so's house is on flame. So all gathered and saw. What he saw? Only the straw, hay stack kept on the side is caught fire, and they said that it is on fire. How this vision has happened? Why did he tell that? Did he have any bad intention of telling that? No, he didn't have. Why did he say that? Because he did not have the right knowledge to understand, and he did not have the right status of understanding the situation in the right manner at the right time. By seeing a flame from the house, he saw the house is on flame. It's a misconception. His mind has decided that same way. What happens? We also, what happens when we see? This is only, I'm talking about the flame and things. This is what happens in our life each and every moment. All misunderstandings, I said that some time back. I'm connecting to that. This is how a misunderstanding takes place. Why a misunderstanding? Misconception of the facts. When it takes place, a misunderstanding takes place. You conclude your own decision. You conclude your own ahankara. This is called ahankara. Why? Because you have got a judgmental character. When you have judgmental, what is judgmental character? Not that you are a true judge. A judgmental character here is based on your rubbish experience. You decide the factors, whatever is happening, based on that experience which is absolutely obsolete, rotten, and which is of no use. Even for you, it is of no use. And you are utilizing that for others. And for you. Am I right? Have you got it? It's called judgmental. To be a true judgmental, as I told you, a Maharishi, Tapasvi is the one who is a true judge. Why? He doesn't judge the Prana, he doesn't judge the Atma, he doesn't judge the person, he judges the activity of a person. हम लोग क्या है? We are great people. If somebody does a mistake once in lifetime, that man is hated throughout the life. That man is hated. Is it not? Many houses, brothers, see, you all know it. I don't have to repeat all this. Or any relationship, anything for that matter. Why they get spoiled? Only for a... If you look at it actually practically, one silly mistake, that too it's not very significant. For significant matters, nobody gets misunderstood. I don't understand Brahman, you also don't understand Brahman. So let us not have misunderstanding, no problem. There is no misunderstanding. Big things, no misunderstanding. But small, petty, unwanted affairs, that emotions, egos, and then the desires, attachments, attractions, and lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, based on these things, you have got all sorts of decision making done. It is contradictory naturally, because your emotion is different, somebody's emotion is different, so it will always be contradictory. It cannot be same, impossible. So what happens? Each has a misunderstanding. Why? Because he doesn't understand your opinion or idea. Why? Because he is utilizing your statement based on his thoughts and experiences stored inside him. He is trying to analyze that. He is unable to match it. So, miss the understanding is called misunderstanding. You missed the understanding, so misunderstanding ho gaya. No. This is how we function. Whereas then what happens? After that, even though I have committed a mistake because I have not understood it, so I have a misunderstanding. No, not that he has. His statement, I could not analyze it or I analyzed it wrong because of my mistake of rubbish thoughts I have accumulated here, and I utilized that experience and misunderstood, and then I hate that person throughout life only for that. Am I right? Now what happened? You are hating that person, individual. Actually, is that individual doing the same thing all the 24 hours or all the 365 days? No. He has done it only once in lifetime that. Now you measure that person based on that particular small insignificant experience, and that individual is hated throughout. Am I right? Do we have a right? Right. But as I told you sometime back in the previous classes, when you go to Maharishi or Tapasvi, you commit a mistake, he discriminates. He also discriminates. He discriminates. Oh, this fellow is talking wrong. Fine. Please go ahead. Next time he cries and comes to him and says that please save me, he saves him. You know. The previous incident that has happened, he never connects with him. It's an incident. He treats it as an incident, and that incident, he has finished it, he has never stored it. Next time he came for a help, that also he has not stored it, nor he has utilized it, he saves him. Now what happens? The individual doesn't matter for him there. What happens? The activity matters there. If we also take in our life each and every activity as an incident and solve it, there will be no misunderstanding with an individual. You should deal with the incident, that's all. Because that man is not only this incident, he is a storehouse of thousands of incidents, thousands of ideas, thousands of happenings, thousands of things. Out of that, one is rubbish, so take it out. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to. But the other 99% is right. Should you hate him? No, cannot. No. This is how we normally, common generation, common people do that. We victimize a person only based on one activity of him. It's what called victimization. Now, why did I say all this? Is that they are all happening only because we do not have proper jnanam. We do not have proper experience, and we have wrong experiences, because of which we have wrong karma phalas which is stored inside us, and we utilize that obsolete, outdated formula of the expertise that you have stored inside your house for solving the most modern, fresh, absolute, clean problem. Is how the misconception takes place. Now, why did I say all this? When these activities are going on, the mind, indriyas, I'm sorry. Mind, indriyas, and other information system or information system, and the Pancha Pranas are involved in such activities. Now, because of these activities, what happens? There is no cleanliness happening to the Sushumna, Ida and Pingala. And because of the cleanliness is not happening for Sushumna, Ida, Pingala, the pranas, that which is supposed to be having pranayama, free pranayama, is not happening and Udana doesn't get the right information and he is also not trying for acquiring new knowledges and replace the experiences that is already stored. He is not doing that. So what happens? Repeatedly, every time, repeatedly, he uses the same, outdated, obsolete, knowledge for solving the problems whenever it comes in our life. Is why the bad karmas are being done. And when the bad karmas are being done, automatically karma phalas are there. And due to this karma phalas, the obstacle take place. And the pranayama is affected by that. So, people who are, even though, why did I say all this? Is because there may be people who are doing very regularly, early morning at 4 o'clock, sitting in front of the open space and lake. You will find people, pulling the air inside and pushing the air outside, thinking that they are cleansing the whole system. Yes, they will do all that. Sha, shu, she, shu, and all that sound will come. And after that, they will go home and do all that unwanted thoughts. Will that exercise, that what you have done, will it have an impact? Or will it create the cleansing of your system if you are in the practice of utilizing the rubbish experiences for solving the problems and accumulating constantly the karma phalas, bad karma phalas in you? Will the Sushumna, Ida, Pingala be clean? Tell me. So even if you do a very systematic, regular pranayama you are doing, you got my point. That is why I said pranayama. The exercise is a upadhi. It's a transition. For the purpose of transition, it's an instrument, it is a method, it's a technique that we are learning for initially so that we get used to it. But along with that, it is not to be taken. Why I am saying this? That it's not that it's wrong. Please don't misunderstand. It is right. But along with that, it is not to be taken as an independent activity. That's why I said yoga, yujyate iti yoga. It is all for the purpose of yoga. So it should not be counted as an independent activity. It should be an associated activity along with the thought process and meditation and purification of the mind. The pranayama exercise should be a part of it. Like I said, prana, the Vayu is a part of the prana only for the purpose of transmission. The fragrance and Vayu is a part, only an upadhi to transport the fragrance from one point to the other. But it is important. Vayu should not be separated as from the fragrance, or fragrance should not be separated from the Vayu. Then the application will not be there. Vayu cannot create fragrance and fragrance cannot travel. It has to be yujyate, yoga has to take place. So, pranayama exercise should not be taken as an independent activity. It should be correlated with the process of the thought process, cleansing of. I hope you are getting it. Yes? It has to be a combination of that, and then it is beneficial. Yes. Along with that, when it is done, then what happens? You are also physically cleaning, also mentally cleaning, also spiritually cleaning. Put together, what happens? The pranayama made it easy. What is the purpose? Pranayama made it easy. Then what happens? After the pranayama, very easy, any point of time, apana goes to the udana, and apana comes down, vyana goes up, prana goes up and comes, and udana goes, all this goes up and then comes down. So this fast movement of these pranas, Pancha Pranas, will keep the balance of, why? Now the fast movement of the pranas to the udana, each time this fast movement takes place, the information, that is the Atmajnanam, that is there in the Udana. Why? Because Udana is very much connected to the Atmajnanam. So whenever this is traveling frequently and the movement is much easier and faster, it's very fast, the prana is moving. So each and every second or each and every fraction of a second, these pranas are gaining the knowledge of the Udana in each Pancha Pranas. Am I right? Because there is a constant yama, there is a constant flow that is taking place without any obstacle. When it has an obstacle-free transmission, pranayama is complete. Yes. When the pranayama is complete, udana, then what happens? The experiences that the apana and the samana and the prana are supposed to be doing will be based on the udana's instructions. Because each and every moment they are in touch with udana. Am I right? Getting it? Because they are very close to them. When it is very close to them, the jnana is spread all over. Movement is faster. Prana yama. So when it is finished, that's why they say, people who are tapasvis and jnanis, their death will be very, very peaceful. Sitting there, very calm. And they can also have the ichha mrityu. Why? Because there is nothing, no obstacle there. Pranayama is complete. So, accumulate all the pranas and say, come on now, go. Finished. Very peaceful, very nice. The others will have, as I told you, 3 ways of people and 3 ways of death. One is through apana, one is through prana, one is through vyana and all that. Another is through udana. So, Shabari had the death of the udana. What Shabari did? Shabari did the tapasya throughout with the basis of one sentence told, faith on the Guru. What was that? Ram will come. Shabari did not know who is Ram, when will he come, what that he has not told. He said, as Ram is an avatar of Mahavishnu, he will come and save you. She has absolute faith on that. The faith did not. Why I told this Purana story? After that, Maharshi died. He went into Samadhi. Maharshi went into Samadhi. Even after Maharshi goes into Samadhi, why Shabari did not have any doubt? He died. Now I am sitting here alone. I don't know when will he come, whether he will come at all. How many days, how many years later Ram came there? Why this doubt did not come to Shabari is my question. She still waited at the same place where Guru said. Guru said, here, he will come here, in that kutia. Why did she not have? Why did she have that faith? Why did she not have the another opinion that even though all the people around said, they in fact they deprived her. They said she's a Adivasi and she's not supposed to use the water in the well there and the lake there, so she cannot wash there, it will get maligned. Shabari was very, the other Maharishi, the Rishis and Tapasvis, they isolated her. But with all that problem, she did not have any doubt. She said that I will sit here. Why? Because my Guru has told Ram will come and then I will get the moksha, mukti, liberation. My question is not all the stories. I am going only Vedantically and technique of it. Why she did have that faith? Why her faith did not get distorted by any of the external activities? And Guru is not there. Had he been living, it is okay. That's a different thing. But he is no more. He has gone into samadhi. Her faith was absolutely firm. First of all, the devotion and dedication towards the Guru was not based on her any personal desires and necessities and needs. It was not. No, that is not the necessity. It was not a need. It was not an emotional decision, or it was not for any purpose Shabari did the devotion and dedication to the Guru. It was a true samarpana of herself to the Guru. Yes. So what happened? She had the practically yoga with the Guru. Yujyate, yoga with the Guru. Even though Shabari was individually looked at Shabari, but the prana of the Maharishi, Tapasvi, as I told you, prana means if it is a Tapasvi or Maharishi, his pranayama was very clean. So the prana which could go up can also every now and then can come into Shabari and can go up. This prana can enter into Shabari and can go out. Why? Because prana, as the diver bird, doesn't have any restriction of anywhere to go in and go out. How can it go and go out? When it goes and go out, where it can go out and in? Only place where the Sushumna Ida Pingala is absolutely clean. So, the diver bird go into the water only when the water is deep and clean. There are no obstacles. Suppose there is a rock in between, the bird will hit that and die. So the water, the depth has to be clear. Same way, the prana, you got it. That's why the diver bird has been given here. I'm just relating with that. So that when the prana goes into Shabari, comes out, the pranayama is absolute. So what happens? Her faith, devotion and dedication, first of all, kept the passage, kept the Sushumna, Ida and Pingala absolutely clean. For what? Not for her moksha. You must understand, this is the vital point, why I told you this. Not for her moksha, but for the Guru's prana to enter and go. She doesn't want moksha. She has not asked for it. Guru told, you wait here, Ram will come and liberate you. Why should I wait? It is not necessary. I will have a normal death, then I will merge with you. I have got dedication with you. That is good enough. Or, no, I don't want to do all that. I cannot wait. Or after waiting, none of these complications have crept into her only because of her absolute devotion and dedication. Due to that devotion and dedication, she is always in the tapasya. During the tapasya, what happens? She doesn't have activated her indriyas into activation of entertainment of mind. The indriyas doesn't function based on the emotional activities, entertainment that is wanted by the mind, but indriyas have been trained to do the total dedication. The mind is totally dedicated to the Guru. So automatically what happens? The assistants who are the indriyas are also toward the line of the mind to have the dedication and devotion. So this eyes and the shravana, the eyes and the ears and the other organs, nose and mouth and all that, it did not entertain any of the activities of external world in order to create bitterness in the mind, so that it will create a bitterness towards the Guru's bhakti. That has not happened. Why? Because the indriyas are properly trained in order to do that. So she kept the pranayama, the sushumna clean. So the prana of the Guru also can enter and always keep her alive in the Guru. That's why she feels, somebody says no, she feels the Guru in her. What is that? No, we say that. No, there's a common word used. She feels the Guru in her. How can she feel the Guru in her, Shabari? Because his prana enters and goes up. Yes, So this is how that she did not get any thoughts outside. So when Ram came, there is no obstacles. The moment he came, and she is ready for mukti, more liberation from this sharira, from the physical body. Being there, that's why Ram says to her that you are already in Guru and the Guru is already in you. So only that, let that prana of you. Now even though the Guru's prana comes and leaves, your prana comes and travels, they have not merged with together. I will merge your prana into your Guru's prana now, based on my blessings. So he blesses her so that her prana merges with the Guru and merges with that flame, and the flame, the meaning is that merges with the Guru's prana. Because her intention, her life was only that. Guru and she, nothing else. There is nothing else, no thought, no activity, no intelligence, no intellect, no education, nothing. Prana. What is the importance of prana? You understood? Prana is that prana can be in us. Prana is very pure. Prana doesn't get attached and attracted to anything. You may have any amount of problems, you may have any amount of troubles, you may have any amount of emotions, you may have any amount of pleasures. Prana, even though it is inside you, does it get involved in any of this? Absolutely no. No. None of them attracts this prana. It is independent, You understood? So the prana is independent. How the prana, being an entity, a part of the body and traveling inside the body, not get attracted to the emotions of the physical body and mind going on? How it is not getting attracted? How not getting mingled? How not getting maligned? How not getting, intercepted? Why is not happening? Why? Because prana is independent of anything. Only for the purpose of the transition, yama, the Vayu is required. Whether the Vayu is there or not, for the prana to come in and go out, nothing is required. It is his own decision. Even traveling from one point to the other point also, the decision is pranas, utilizing the upadhi of Vayu only for the purpose of transport. It's a vehicle, that's all. So, it doesn't get attached to any of this. Diver bird goes from the sky direct into the water. Straight it goes down and comes out. None of the activity, external pressures, external temperature, or any of these things doesn't attach. It doesn't get attracted to this diver bird. Why? Because its physical body is created like that. According to the bird I'm talking, is created like that. The force that is at which it passes through, anything that comes, anything that means not the hard ones, the water, it parts and it pierces through and goes for that. It doesn't require the assistance. Water is an obstacle actually, for the. It doesn't require the assistance of water to travel. It doesn't require the assistance of air to travel. No. Both activities are done, whether it is in the water or in the air, both activities are done by its own capability of flying. Am I right? Only thing, for making it to travel, there has to be a space for traveling. That space is external or under the water. That's all. So for the diver bird, this space or that space doesn't make any difference, is why the diver bird has been taken as an example. For prana, whether the inside or outside doesn't make any difference. No, got it. The diver bird goes inside the water, does it make any difference? No. When it comes out, does it make any difference? No. Both are happening based on its own will. Not because there is water, not because there is air. It is because its own will it happens. Prana, by its own will, it happens, comes in and goes out. That which comes by its own will comes in and goes out. That which doesn't have any changes, because if it is going out and coming in, is it different? The bird, when it goes outside the water, when it came out, is it different shape? No, same shape, no? The one which doesn't have changes, the one which can travel by its own will, come out with its own will, but remains in the same static position, doesn't get attached and attracted to any of the emotions and desires and other things, is called prana. So when you meditate on prana, hey Satyakama, that prana is Brahman. Why? Because that is unchangeable, non-attached, not independent. It can travel anywhere. It can inside and outside, and this, etc. Is prana, is the Brahman. So through identification of prana like this, as I explained now, when you identify the prana like this, you will find that is called a supernatural power, is it not? What's the supernatural power? Which is known as Brahman. So Satyakama, prana is Brahman. Now the eyes, ears and mouth and all that. And mind. Yes. We'll talk tomorrow, next class, because this is good enough, I think. You should perceive this, contemplate it. Now there are more. Now I can continue with this. Prana, because it's a beautiful chapter. So is why. So control of the prana, ichha mrityu. For a person who has the capacity of ichha mrityu, the one who can ask the prana to come in, ask the prana to go out, is called ichha mrityu, according to his desire. Yes, this also is very interesting. Who has this ichha mrityu? Who can absorb the prana, who can release the prana? It doesn't have anything to do with the sharira. First of all, understand this. Absolutely remove your sharira. It doesn't have anything to do with the body. It only has something to do with the mind, antakarana and the atma. Nothing other than that. Now when the mind is a tapasvi, when the mind is a rishi, tapasvi, jnani, and when the intellect is connected with the antakarana, is connected with the antaratma, the atma jnanam is transmitted through antakarana to the mana, to the indriyas. So indriyas are detached, the sharira is detached, mana is constantly with the Brahman because of the jnanam that is perceived. Such a person who is a Brahman, who is in the Brahman, who is in the knowledge, who is in the prana, not the prana is in him, who is in the prana, is in a position to direct. When he is in the prana, he is in a position to direct the prana to come into a physical body and go out of physical body. No? Don't know? Okay. You want to have a glass of water from the sea. You have a glass, you have the water, you are there. Water has not come. How will the water come? You have to be in the water. Okay. You get down into the water, You have to be in the water. When you are in the water, you are in a position to easily bring the water in the glass or empty the glass into the ocean. Right? Same way, when his mind and intellect is in the prana, prana is easily directed and emptied whenever he wants. Who? The only one who is the tapasvi, jnani, and he is the one who can do the astral travel. Now there is a principle called astral travel. Astral travel is prana, taking out the prana from the sharira, making it travel, and then again come back. The Pancha Pranas will travel and experience. Where it travels? Only in the spiritual world, not for going for a shopping. Huh? Prana doesn't go for that. Prana goes to the absolute jnanam, absolute Brahman, where direct connection is there. Well, the path is already designed. So when the prana leaves, it goes, the experiences the Brahman, and comes back. That is why in astral projection, Maharishis, Tapasvis, and Jnanis and Gurus, they are in a position to do the astral travel. They do the astral travel only for the purpose of retaining them always connected with the Brahman. And when it comes back, it is directed back into the Sharira. And that Sharira, which is containing the Prana, which has got the Brahma Sakshatkaram, Brahma Jnanam, Brahma Tapasya, is utilized by the Sharira for the purpose of execution of karmas. Got it? Whereas we are utilizing our emotions for the purpose of Sharira and trying to acquire the Prana. Prana doesn't come into your hands. Whereas here, the Prana is the one which is controlling the Indriyas and Mana for execution of karmas. So, what he will do? He will do only the right karma. He is called the Brahmacharis by the Maharishi Vaishambhayana. Who are those Brahmacharis? Who are in a position, who are in constant touch of the pranayama in them, who are connected with the Brahman directly. So, it is the prana which is connected with the Brahman or the Brahmajnanam. Who acquires the Brahmajnanam? Ultimately, it's the Jnanam. Everything is Jnanam. That makes the person execute the karma not based on the emotional decisions or the objective purposes and decisions, but for the activity, the decision making of activity. So what happens? He does only the right karma, is called the prana. So hey Satyakama, meditate on that and realize that your prana is nothing but Brahman. When you realize that, cleanse the whole process in that system. Your Sushumna is cleaned, Apana is rising, merges with Udana, and the prana traveling. No obstacles, no desires, no attachments, no distractions, nothing, no worries, no problems. Everything is connected with the prana. Prana is you. It is what you keeping you alive. That which is the vital force, which is the vital source. The vital force and the vital source, there you attend on that. You concentrate on that. Rest of it will automatically come. Don't give importance to the other things and try to control that which is not changeable, that which is not, doesn't have a shape, that which can travel every time, everywhere, depending upon its own choice. No, this cannot be controlled by your limitations, because this is unlimited. It comes by its own will, and its own goes out, its own will. Hey Satyakama, that prana, through that prana, identify that Brahman, that is you. That is there in you. No problems. No, identify that so that you execute your karma. Why happens? Why these imaginations, illusions, and these problems happens? Why? Because I misunderstand the activities, that execution of my karmas are wrong. Is why this problem happens. Now I told you how to correct it already. I think enough of examples and explanations are there. Only thing, we should perceive it in the right way. You have to listen to this again and again. So that your contemplation should be establishing the truth, and then you should start seeing your prana as Brahman. Then you will find the pleasure in you. Then you can see how the activities go, how you can travel. No, even the astral travel also happens like this only. It's very easy then. Nayanam. So that is the next is that we will talk about the Chakshu. We will talk about. Yes. I think. Now your eyes have to be closed, so we will not talk about Chakshu. Tomorrow we will talk about it. Oh.